Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters Business, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Richard Shapiro on the line, and he's an attorney over at Bluestein, Shapiro, Frank, and Barone. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, Rich. So excited about today's topic. So we're going to talk about how to structure a law practice really for maximum productivity. So I think it's a really interesting topic. But before we get into that, I'd like to know a little bit more about your background. So tell us a little bit more about your professional journey, please.
Sure. I got out of law school about 33 years ago now, and I joined up with a big firm in Washington, D.C., and did that for a few years, and then sort of had a change of my plan in terms of what I wanted to do for my future, came back to my hometown where I grew up, and went from a mega-sized law firm to a firm just with myself, and at the time my father was my partner. And I did that for a number of years as a general practice. And about 10 years into my career, I decided I really needed to create a niche practice area than doing sort of a general practice that I had been engaged in for that first number of years. And I shifted my focus to estate planning and elder law, which I've been now doing for over the last 2 decades.
Wow. And so what do you think are some of those contributing things that have been, that have helped you along the way, and that are really those important factors in your professional success?
I would say a few things. One is important, I think, in this day and age to find a niche or two, and from talking from a legal perspective, obviously other fields may have different focuses, but to be a lawyer in today's day and age, it is very hard to be a generalist, a general practitioner, whether you're in a larger firm, a medium firm, small firm, or just a solo practice. You really have to create a field of expertise that you can more easily provide high-level expert advice to your clients and be able to charge an appropriate fee for doing that. It is very hard to run from doing, as I did earlier in my career, a real estate closing in the morning, then running to traffic court, and then doing a speeding ticket or trying to handle a litigation matter. It's just not really feasible to really gain the level of knowledge and experience to become a high-level expert in the field. So that'd be my first recommendation. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether you really like to be a litigator or a family law attorney, or like me, estate planning and elder law attorney. Find something that you have a passion for within the legal field, if you're going to say as an attorney, and really take it from there. And once you create your niche, you really have to go all in. You have to decide, how am I going to maximize my educational opportunities by taking continuing education courses, and not just a 2-hour seminar, but really doing week-long immersion topics, going out, going off-site, pre and after COVID to events and conferences and things of that nature. And there are those types of things readily available in pretty many practice area in the law. And once you start building your field of expertise, it doesn't do a lot of good if only you know about your expertise. So you do need to then cultivate your referral sources, again, regardless of what level of practice you have or type of practice. In my particular case, the most logical referral sources for estate planning and elder law attorneys are people such as financial advisors, accountants, other lawyers who do not do this field. They're probably my biggest feeder source today.
Wow, no, that's really helpful. And so when we think about, I like to transition and go a little bit further into this this idea of how to structure a practice. So first tip that you mentioned that I think works not only in law but in most businesses is you really had to pick your niche, which you did obviously. So you're not just saying to do that, you did it. And so now, what else would you say, like, if we're building on that? So maybe a young lawyer, somebody that's just getting started out, they pick their niche and they're going to do estate planning or something else. Like, what's that? What would you say is kind of like that next step to really brand or put themselves out there put them on the path, I should say, to be a leader in that area?
Well, what we've seen in the last 33 years that I've been practicing that really has been a game changer is the technology. When I got out of law school, we were just at the cusp of having everyone having their own personal computer. And that was my first year as a practitioner. And this, again, was at a large law firm where it had all the resources you could want. You couldn't send your own fax, which people did in those days. You had to go to the fax room and have the guys do it there. Fast forward to here in 2021, everything that you had to go to a massive mailroom system for, you can do from your phone today. And it's much easier today to go it alone if that's what someone wants to do, be a sole practitioner. There is certainly, in a mature practice like I have, I do have a robust support team. I have 2 other attorneys and 3 support staff that work directly for me. But for someone coming right out of law school, and I'm sort of mentoring a person right now, helping her out and sort of getting off the ground, it is the technology we have to have in place. The first thing I would always recommend is to have a good practice management system, and pretty much the state of the art today are the cloud-based systems. In our field, there are a number of companies that are out there, well-known ones such as Clio and Practice Panther. The one that we happen to be using now is called Action Step. There are a whole bunch of them, and they really allow for an integrated system of calendaring, billing, accounting, document creation, email retrieval, and maintenance. It's so important if you get a call and someone sends you an email and says, "Oh, can you update me on the status of my matter?" When you have that built right into your system, it really saves time and frankly is a protection for you that if someone says, "You never told me to do A, B, and C," and then you have the paperwork at your fingertips, it certainly allows me to sleep a lot better at night when I don't have to dig through a huge paper file. I can just find it electronically.
No, that's very helpful, and I think it's interesting that that we see how technology really affects all different industries, and it can make it efficient. So when you said like you had to go to the fax room, I'm like, it was a little bit before my time, but I'm thinking to myself like, wow, you had to go to the fax room. You didn't have to. You couldn't just do it from your phone, right? It makes sense, but it's amazing to see what's taking place. So, Rich, if somebody's listening to this, so final question, 2-part question. So number one, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about your firm, what are some of the practice areas or areas of specialty that they should connect you and your team with? Number one, and number two, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Well, I mean, our firm happens to be a general practice firm. We have different practice areas. My team is the estate planning, elder law, and special needs team. We have a litigation practice. We do a lot of civil, commercial, municipal representation. represent a number of local municipalities in our community, and we have a transaction team that handles all manner of commercial and business transactions, mergers, acquisitions, land use, things of that nature. So we are very diversified for a smaller firm. We have about 15 attorneys, which for our area, we're an ex-urban area outside of New York City. We were pretty large for our area. So that would be, we can handle most matters that people come to us with, and we all know the right attorneys if they're not in our firm for someone who has a specific need that we cannot handle within the firm. As far as reaching out, contacting us, our website is mid-hudsonlaw.com. Again, that's mid-hudsonlaw.com. We have a very, I think, up-to-date and full-featured website with information, videos, forms, and certainly ways to reach any of the attorneys that might have the expertise for a person's particular needs.
Wonderful. And we'll definitely put that website in the show notes for anybody listening, so it'll be really easy for you to find. So definitely check it out there. So Rich, just want to say thank you for coming on the show today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and learning more about your background, and also getting these tips out there and, to new attorneys and otherwise, really just paying it forward so you don't have to do that. And we know you took time out of your schedule to do so. So appreciate you again coming on the show. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget, hit the subscribe button. We definitely want to have you be a return guest. We have other great guests like Rich coming on the show next. And Rich, again, seriously, it was great having you on the show.
Thank you, Adam. It was my pleasure.